Hey, yo, what's the deal? That's your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording right now, it is 6:08 p.m. And what I want to do is I want to talk about something very interesting. This is not a what if video and stuff, but this is a real interesting topic because, you know, WWE and AEW they both got their respective brands, right? Let me just do this real quick. Hold on real quick, guys. Hold on. Yeah. So, as you guys know, WWE and AEW both have their respective secondary brands, right? With, you know, WWE having Evolve and AEW having Ring of Honor, right? Which begs the question, because of course, you know, both of those indies, both of those promotions at the time, you know, 10 years ago were, you know, they were top of the line, you know, indies in this industry, right? The two top indie promotions in the country, right? Evolve and what's his face and Ring of Honor, right? But my thing is, who's utilizing what they have better? That's the ultimate question you have to ask yourself. Who is utilizing these promotions that they have in their arsenal? Who's utilizing it better? You know, is WWE utilizing Evolve better, or is AEW utilizing Ring of Honor better? You know, it's interesting because, you know, both of them are no longer really indie standouts, right? Ring of Honor is not an indie standout at this point. Ring of Honor at this point now, it's not an indie standout because they have to attest to AEW, right? And Evolve is also not an indie standout no more because now it is basically a developmental brand for WWE. But which company is utilizing their secondary brand better? Hands down is WWE utilizing Evolve. Hands down. Because with Evolve, WWE is putting effort in Evolve to make it something, you know, to make it feel important. To make it feel real important where, you know, they got them in a pipeline to develop talent and to bring up talent, you know, to go to NXT and then onto the main roster. You know, Evolve last night had plenty of people who were in WWE LFG, which it should have been like that in the first place, right? And so, you know, WWE, and also remember, there's a TV deal. They have a fucking TV deal. Evolve, you know, WWE got Evolve a TV deal, right? As to what AEW does with Ring of Honor, right? Not so much. Not so much. You know, it's crazy when you think about it because, you know, what AEW basically does with Ring of Honor is Tony Khan, you know, he just uses Ring of Honor as just another another promotion. He's not fusing anything in. You know, and I'm sorry if I'm pausing stuff. I'm trying to get something out my fucking face. Hold on real quick. Yeah, sorry about that. So let's look, right? Let's look at, you know, the differences what WWE does with Evolve and AEW does with Ring of Honor. Okay? So let's look at AEW and Ring of Honor first, right? So AEW doesn't use Ring of Honor as their developmental. Again, they just use it as they use this as another promotion that doesn't really, you know, interact with AEW, right? So basically, you know, it's an indie connected with AEW, but it doesn't really do anything with AEW. You see what I'm saying? because you don't really see a lot of AEW people go down to Ring of Honor to do stuff. You don't. And vice versa. And vice versa. And Athena is basically, she was the women's champion, and look what happened. They're not using her at all. They're not. You know what I mean? She's basically their women's champion, right? They're not doing anything with her. Not one bit. Not one bit. They're not really bringing her up into, AEW storylines and such, specifically on Dynamite. You also don't have people who go from AEW down to Ring of Honor to develop skills or to have something to do, right? They're just there. They're just there. Basically, like Tony Khan is buying people, right? He's signing wrestlers just to have them on the bench and go, okay, well, you know what? We have Ring of Honor. We're going to have you wrestle there, right? We're going to have you wrestle in Ring of Honor, right? No TV deal, no nothing. Nothing. There's basically nothing. The closest that Tony Khan puts them on TV and such is Collision. And he mostly puts them to fucking lose. Plain and simple. He puts them to lose, right? He puts them to get jobbed out. And that's it. And, they have them going back and forth. Doing what? Doing absolutely fucking nothing. Doing nothing. I can name names. I can definitely name names, right? Also, no TV deal. He's not developing people, with using Ring of Honor for AEW. He's not doing none of that. He's not doing any of that, Like he's not building up stars to call up. He's not doing any of that. It's just a random promotion that's dead. Ring of Honor is dead. It's dead. It's a dead promotion. So no development, no back and forth and such. Wrestle Dream, but what happened there? What happened there? You see what I'm saying? So you forget that Ring of Honor exists. Now, and also AEW don't even put it out there like that. They don't even put that shit out there like that. You know what I mean? So basically, it's what? Another AEW Dark. It's basically what? AEW Dark and Dark Evolution just replaced with the Ring of Honor name. That's all it is. That's pretty much all, Ring of Honor is. That's all AEW is done with Ring of Honor. Now, what about WWE and Evolve? Well, WWE got Evolve a TV deal with Tubi, right? And they're basically using that and they're doing more of an effort to make Evolve part of their developmental pipeline, where you also have the WWE ID folks there, clearly. You know what I'm saying? They use that as a platform for that, right? So that they can get called up by NXT. And also they're using it for WWE, LFG, right? They're doing that there and such. And also they're making an effort. Like I said, they make an effort. And so, this is basically a developmental where they're building up stars, organically. You know what I mean? They also put the WWE NIL people there as well. You know what I'm saying? So basically what this is basically, WWE NXT level up, right? With a mixture of AEW Dark and Dark Evolution with a TV deal and, as a developmental system, which basically that's what Ring of Honor should be, but we know it's not. So WWE is doing more of a better job with Evolve than what AEW is doing with Ring of Honor. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And like I said, people forget that Ring of Honor is on. You know what I'm saying? It's on Honor Club. Like, who the fuck is going to watch that? Who the fuck? And then the pay-per-views are shit. The Ring of Honor pay-per-views are just garbage. They're garbage. They're fucking garbage. You know what I mean? Like when when Ring of Honor gets pay-per-views by AEW, it's just and and here's another thing too. Why there's a problem with Ring of Honor, right? Ring of Honor is basically AEW with a logo and color change. That's basically what it is. That's basically what the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? It's it's AEW with a logo and color change. But if you notice, same graphic style, same graphic design, every fucking thing. Everything's the same. Everything is legit the fucking same. You know what I mean? Same set, same every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? And then you want me to sit there and say, well, they look different. No, the fuck they don't. At least with WWE, Evolve is looked at very differently. It looks like AEW Dark. It's very different. A small, intimate crowd and such. I mean, the answer's right there in front of your face. It's right there legit in front of your face. And you want me to sit there and say that Ring of Honor has a future? Then you got to be out of your fucking mind. And then, you know what? I'll go even further. And you know what? I was going to make this video. I was going to make a video about what I'm about to say, but I figured, you know what? Let me combine the two. If WWE had brought Ring of Honor earlier, right? If they had brought Ring of Honor earlier, right? Like some 3 years ago, what you see with Evolve basically, is what you would see with Ring of Honor. Plain and simple. At least WWE would have made an effort to include Ring of Honor into WWE's developmental process. Clearly, because let's keep it a buck. Yes, Ring of Honor is a sexier name. It is a sexier name than Evolve, but they both got one thing in common. They both were created by the same fucking person, Gabe Sapolsky. You know what I mean? So that's the main thing that they got in common. So you cannot sit there and tell me that that Ring of Honor has a better future with how AEW is using it than WWE has with Evolve. That is complete horse shit. It's horse shit. But that's just my thoughts. You know what I mean? Let me know what you guys think under the comment section. I will be definitely making another video tonight for sure. All right, so I'm going to definitely holler at y'all. Peace.